Pit stop check, we've got our snacks, and are ready to hit the road. Join Joe as he chronicles his road trips through the cities, towns, highways, back roads, and various regions of the Lone Star State. This is Texas Chronicles with Joe Perez. My adventure takes me to Lake Jackson, Texas, where I'll be visiting the Texas Parks and Wildlife, Sea Center, Texas, a marine museum with touch tanks, an aquarium, a hatchery, and an outdoor wetlands with a boardwalk. Oh, did I mention that it's free?
You're at Sea Center, Texas today in Lake Jackson. We are a marine aquarium, fish hatchery, and education center operated by Texas Parks and Wildlife Department. Sea Center, Texas has basically three different components. We have our visitor center, which houses a touch tank, 5 major aquarium exhibits, and some smaller exhibits. Our main aquarium exhibits concentrate on displaying native Texas fishes. So it's one of the only place you can go to see native saltwater fishes for Texas only, along the Texas coast. And we also have some side exhibits that have things from other places as well. When you first walk into Sea Center, Texas, we have a display of trophy fish. So these are replicas of the state records for saltwater species along the Texas coast. Our touch tank exhibit is also very popular. We have sea anemones, hermit crabs, blue crabs, stone crabs, some little fishes, all kinds of different shells. And it's in a shallow water display where people can get a hands-on encounter with some of the local sea life found along the Texas coast. The main purpose of Sea Center, Texas is to raise fish to enhance the fisheries along the Texas coast. So we have a marine fish hatchery where we keep broodstock, or the adult spawning fish, for redfish, or we call them red drum, or spotted sea trout, or speckled trout as commonly known.
Here we're out here now at the what we call our 8-acre pond, which is really our emergency water that we bring in from the Gulf of Mexico in case we can't pump because of red tide or something like that out there. But we do 3 kinds of fish here typically. Red drum, spotted sea trout, and we're just learning how to do flounder, and we've been releasing them for the last few years. In this pond you can see a lot of some of the large broodstock fish. Okay, this is our broodstock room where we have the adult fish that lay the eggs for us. We then take and incubate in our incubation room. On my left here, we've got 4 tanks of red drum. And on the right, we've got 4 tanks of flounder. There's only 5 red drum in the tank because they're so doggone big. I mean, we're talking adult fish, right? They're at least 30 inches to be an adult. On the other side, we've got flounder, which is much smaller, so there's a lot of those in the tank. And our brother broodstock room on the other end of this hatchery, we also have spotted sea trout. Those are the 3 species we do here at Sea Center, Texas. Okay, this trough on the side of the tank is very important because most marine eggs, when they get fertilized, they develop a little drop of oil that makes them float so they can make their way back into the back of the bays and the estuaries. Well, this water's spinning in the tank. From the life support room, it comes in a little bit of an angle, causes the whole tank to spin all the time. So eggs, when they get fertilized, they're going to float up to the top, they're going to spin out to the side. And they're going to hit a little baffle right here and shoot right out into this trough. And maybe starting about 6 o'clock at night, we can start harvesting eggs from here and taking them to the incubation room to hatch. Believe it or not, you're actually looking at about 1.5 million red drum in this tank. That's about how many we put into a tank to hatch them. And these fish have actually hatched. They hatch in about 24 hours, and then we keep them in here for an additional 1.5 to 2 days until they absorb that egg yolk and start forming a mouth and an eye and get that mouth really formed well. And hey, tomorrow morning, these guys are going out into probably 3 of our 1-acre ponds to be raised to release size, which takes anywhere from 35 to 45 days depending on temperature. We want to get them about this big, 1.5 inches, to put them out into our bays. But this is 1.5 million fish, guys. Come see them. These are our grow-out ponds. We saw the little fish that have just hatched in the incubation room. After a couple of days, we bring them out here because we've got to start feeding them, and this is where we grow their food for them. There's 36 of these 1-acre ponds. The grow-out ponds for the fish we keep for 35 to 45 days and then release them. And there's about 400,000 fish that we put in each of these ponds to grow them to release size. A couple of these ponds, though, are special to you because about 3 days out of the year, we'll actually open up a couple of ponds that we actually devote to fishing. And they're going to have lots of big red drum and probably not any spotted sea trout, but black drum and some croaker and that sort of thing that you can bring your family, and anyone under 17 is allowed to fish. You're going to have to supply your own bowl, own bait and own pole, but for about an hour and a half you can fish out here, usually on a Saturday morning. And those dates are on our website, and they're also on the back of the brochures as you come into the greeter's desk at our visitor center.
Outside, we have a wetland exhibit. So we have 3 acres of freshwater wetlands and about an acre of a salt marsh exhibit. And there's a boardwalk that goes along this. You can see turtles, sometimes a snake, sometimes an alligator, dragonflies, lots of birds of different species. We also have a wildscape area with some native plants and other plants that attract native wildlife. It's important for us to have this stock enhancement program because recreational fishing is an important sport along the Texas coast. Economically for Texas, it's important because of all the revenue it brings in along the coast to those businesses along the coast. And conservation-wise, it's important because those people out fishing along our Texas coast are some of our best conservationists because they're out there, they see the resources, they see how wonderful they are, and they naturally want to protect those resources for the future. So fishing is an important, fishermen are important to the conservation programs along the Texas coast. And also it's a great sport for families, it's a great sport for the elderly, great sport for the young, and it's lots of fun and wholesome entertainment for families.
Like us on Facebook for new episodes and all things Texas.